everyone. Myself Komal Yadav. I will be volunteering with Chaitanya today.
Hi everyone. So just a quick update on that. We're waiting on one of our interpreters who will be joining the room shortly. If they're here, please raise your hand. In case if you're not, we're waiting for them. And once they're here, we'll probably be starting with the workshop. And the process of the workshop will flow in this direction that I'll first introduce our experts, and the experts will then go on to give the presentation and the subsequent material in the workshop that we'll be engaging with. So thank you for bearing with us, but we're just distributing everybody into the relevant groups. Thanks.
So let's start with the session. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm joining from my phone, so that's why the angle could be a little weird. But what I would do, we should really jump into the topic itself, and I would like to share the screen. I hope the slide is visible.
Yes, Harsha, please go ahead.
Yes, yeah. So the microgreens is the topic. Now, what I call microgreens as the window farming. Now, window farming because microgreens are basically leafy vegetables. These are small, tiny salad vegetables, and these can be grown as a. If you want to be an urban farmer, and if you want to grow quick veggies and something really delicious at the same time nutritious, you can start with the microgreens. So basically, you sow the seeds germinate, and within 10 to 14 days, you get your harvest as fast as it can get. And that's what microgreens is. Now, if you see, why you need to grow microgreens is for your assured and continuous supply of fresh, organic, and highly nutritious food. Now, if you see in this, microgreens are pretty small. That's why they are called micro, because within first 10 to 12 days, how far the plant is going to get is going to be a small one. So if you see, you need the seed to grow microgreens. You need to sow the seeds so that they get into the sprouts, they germinate and you get the sprouts. You need the microgreens. Once the sprouts get into the leaf part, when the sprouts form, if it's a dicot, it forms the two leaves. If it's a monocot, it forms one leaf. The early leaf, when it comes out, that tender plant is called as microgreen. So these are pretty small. If you allow the microgreens to grow even more, they will become baby greens. They will go to a young plant. They can become a mature plant. So more or less, very tender a stage, you want to harvest it. And why do you want to harvest it at a tender stage? Because of their nutritious aspect. So basically, when you start growing microgreens, you want to eat it fresh. You want to harvest it fresh. You don't want to cook it, boil it, or fry. You don't want to do that. You can eat it raw. And whether you are having salad, breakfast, main course, side salad, anything, even dessert, anything you consume. In India, we have this habit of eating with coriander. How about garnishing your food with all sorts of microgreens? So that's why you can eat it raw, and that's where you can get the best benefits out of it. So basically, these are superfoods. These are very fast. In fact, sometimes in the humid climate of Mumbai, you can get it within 8 days. Also, we have done that. It requires very less sunlight. Even 2 to 3 hours of sunlight, and you can get your microgreens harvest. You can do window farming. It requires pretty less. It's enjoyable gardening activity. You can do it organically. You can do it in a soil-less manner without making a muddy situation. You can go ahead with it, and it's a great addition to the salad. It's now the most important part is any food preparation that you make, whether it's pizza, pasta, sandwich, anything that you make, you can basically make it more nutritious by adding microgreens. Now, if you see, more or less all microgreens have 5 to 20 times more vitamins, minerals, nutritions than the regular leafy vegetables. We are talking about spinach and Greek and leafies, the salad vegetables. We are talking about vitamin C, E, vitamin K, most important beta carotene, vitamin A, antioxidants. So all the goodness of nutritional aspect that we always talk about, and since the pandemic, the importance of these vitamins and minerals, and people have been consuming various supplements of multivitamins and so on, you can actually grow live multivitamins, freshly harvesting it, and you can get your supply. So that's the most important part. 5 to 20 times more. If you have spinach, a microgreen spinach will be having 5 to 20 times more iron and so on and other nutrition aspect. And since you can eat it raw, you get the best of it. So let me just show you what kind of veggies you can grow. So all kinds of salad vegetables, as you can see, the mustard, the fenugreek, amaranth, spinach, coriander, the watercress, the cabbage, the broccoli, celery, all the cabbage family members, the lettuce, the rockets salad, the beetroot, radish, carrot, all underground vegetables also can be grown for its leafiness, the leafy part of it, the sunflower, green peas, chickpeas, the herbs like basil, parsley, and wheatgrass itself is a microgreen on its own. So mainly it's leafy vegetables. Then it's the mustards and the cabbage family vegetables. Then the underground vegetables for its upper growing parts, and the other the sunflower and green peas and so on. Now I have further stuff. So this presentation is there, but I have just in the morning, I request the volunteers just in the morning, I have a short procedure. So I would like to share that. Oh, I think I can do that so that the participants get the fair idea of the entire procedure of growing microgreens. I need to share the screen. And the audio. I hope I'm
Yes, you
audible.
are.
I just volunteer to let me know if the video is also audible. Once starts.
Yes, the video is audible.
In order to grow
It's audible.
microgreens vegetables, in order to grow microgreens vegetables, you need seeds. Now, there are all kinds of seeds that you can use, but particularly what you want is the seeds of leafy vegetables. Now, to get the microgreens seeds, you don't want to buy the branded seeds with the coating of fungicides. What you want is loose seeds of heirloom varieties that you can get from the seed collectors, the grocery shops, the wholesale shops, or from the farmers. And you can have some of these seeds already with you in your own kitchen. Now let's have a look at the seeds that I've got. Here is the seeds of fenugreek. Fenugreek, in India we call it methi, is one of the best microgreens that you can grow from it. Then got the spinach. The spinach, this is Indian spinach, which we call palak. These are the seeds. Then there is the mustard. Mustards make very good microgreens, taste wise also, and the nutritional aspects. Then we have the dill. Dill, in locally we call it sua, which gives you aromatic herb microgreens. Then got the seeds of sunflower. Sunflower microgreens are really cherished all over the world. It was very popular and very tasty. Then the seeds of radish. Even radish microgreens are surprisingly tasty and they are known all over the world. So you got radish. The seeds of amaranth. Now, amaranth is one of the most important vegetables that has the capacity, it has the potential to fix the problems of world hunger. So these black seeds are the seeds of red amaranth. Then these whitish seeds, these are another variety of amaranth that we locally call rasgira. There are dozens of amaranth varieties which are amazing when it comes to their properties as far as food is concerned. And they've got the seeds of wheat, and the wheat, this is actually regular wheat grains which are used for making the sowing the wheat grass, which is a medicinal microgreens. And the seeds of white peas. Now these are white peas. You can get the seeds of green peas as well, and you can also get the seeds of black peas. Any kinds of peas make pea shoots very tasty. Now, if you see, there are few lots and lots of more varieties that you can use for making microgreens, but you don't want to use the solanaceous vegetables like tomato family members, the tomato, capsicum, and so on, and the cucumber family members. You don't want to use them for microgreens. More or less all the herbs, the rooting vegetables, and the mainly leafy vegetables you can definitely use. In order to grow microgreens, you need containers. Now you can pick actually any container that you want. There is no such thing as separate microgreens container. For example, I have this recyclable plastic container. Then I have this small old pot that I would use to grow other plants. And as simple as the cup, a paper cup. Now, any container you pick, you can do the reuse. You can reuse the ice cream containers or the food containers that you have to grow microgreens. Before you reuse any container for growing microgreens or any other plants, it's important that you make drain holes in the bottom. So I've taken a safety pin and I'm making the drain holes in the bottom to grow plants. If you want to reuse any container, it's really important that the drain holes are made so that excess water during gardening will pass through these drain holes. Even for the pepper cup, make the drain holes. And a plastic container already has bigger drain holes. So if the drain holes are too big, you may want to cover it up. So cover it. I got few dry leaves. I cover these drain holes. So I have used the recyclable plastic container. So as long as it doesn't break, I can use it. If it breaks, I can give it back to manufacturer. But you want to make sure that you don't damage your containers and you use them for as long as you want to. For a growing medium, I am actually using something called as coco peat. Coco peat is a fibrous soil-like material derived from coconut husk fiber. Now you can see it's very loose, it's very soft, and you, instead of regular garden soil or any other soil, you can use loose coco peat, which is also called as coco soil. Now if you don't have coco peat, you can use any other fiber. You can use moss fiber, you can use fern fiber, or you can also use very fine soil along with sand. I'm using coco peat because coco peat has got very good seed germination rate and very good water holding capacity. Now with coco peat, it's important that you take 3 to 4 parts of coco peat. So I've taken 3 parts of coco peat and mix it up with 1 part of compost. So here is the organic compost. You can take any organic manure you want. You can use homemade biocompost. You can use vermicompost. You can use cow manure or any other manure. But what you want to do is any soil you take, in my case I have taken cocoa soil, you mix it up with the compost soil. So if you are converting your kitchen waste, home kitchen waste into compost, that will be great. So you can use it up, and 3 parts of coco peat and 1 part of compost you want to mix thoroughly to make your own microgreens soil mixture. Now this microgreens soil mixture is also very good seed sowing medium. So if you have got any seeds and you want them to germinate, you want a guaranteed germination or increase your chances of germination, you can actually use this medium, a coco peat based medium, which is very much natural and organic in nature. Now we fill up the containers with this coco peat microgreens medium. So you want to make sure that you fill up the container more than half. When you want to sow seeds in anything, you want to fill up the container more than half, and there is no need to press it down. You want to keep it loose, you want to keep it aerated, and you want to keep it the way it is. We don't want to make it too compact, and you don't want to press it down. Okay, so I fill up all the containers I have for microgreens seed sowing. Now sowing the seeds. I have the spinach seeds here and I want to grow spinach microgreens. So what you want to do is you want to hold the seeds in one of your palms. First you want to hold the seeds in one of your palms and then pick the seeds in from the other fingers. Now sowing the seeds for microgreens, you want to sow the seeds densely as possible. And such method is called broadcasting. So you scatter the seeds evenly all over the container, and you want to sow these seeds in a very dense manner. So if I had to grow regular spinach, I wouldn't sow these seeds as densely as I have done right now. Okay, so pretty dense sowing, which is desirable when you are growing microgreens. So sow the seeds more than your judgment. Okay, so this much density is enough. Very dense manner you want to sow the seeds. Now even for the other containers, for the small pot, I sow the wheat so that I could get wheat grass from it. So similarly, I sow the wheat in the same manner. You want to sow the seeds evenly all over the surface. And even for a smaller container, I take my amaranth seeds and sow the amaranth seeds on the cup, into my cup. So even when I'm sowing the seeds in the cup, the pepper cup, I sow them in a dense manner. Now we cover the sown seeds with the same coco peat medium. So it's important after sowing that you make a fine layer, fine cover of the same medium in which you have sown the microgreen seeds. So if you have sown the seeds in the soil, you will cover them up with the soil. I have sown the seeds in coco peat, so I'm covering them up with the coco peat. The cover shouldn't be too thick. It should be just a layer which would surround the seeds. If some of the seeds are visible, that's okay, as you can see here. And There you go. It's in such a way that these are have a fine layer of soil over them. Immediately after seed sowing and covering them up, you need to water it. Watering is must. Now, ideally, technically, you can water these containers, small containers, with the sprayer, a hand sprayer, a pump sprayer. But if you don't have a sprayer, that's totally all right. You can take a PET bottle, very typical PET bottle, and rather than throwing it away, you can reuse it for watering. All you need to do is make multiple holes into the cap and use it for watering your microgreens containers. It also gives out water very nicely and as good as any sprayer. So such kind of PET bottle is very useful when it comes to sowing the microgreens containers, and also any seeds that you have sown on the seed beds or seedling trays. You can use such kind of PET bottle watering device, DIY watering device, and reuse it as much as you can. Now, when you are watering it for the first time, you want to make sure that you water it nicely and thoroughly. All the coco peat is imbibed with the water. So, fully you need to water properly. Make sure that coco peat is wet. And once the watering is done, I would like to cover the containers. This container comes with the cover, so I cover it up, cover the container, and I would further cover the entire assembly of seed sown with a cloth. You want to cover it up with a cloth. Now what I have done here is, for the seeds to germinate properly, they need a blackout period of 24 to 48 hours. So the first 24 to 48 hours after seed sowing, you need to cover them up. You need to create a dark, damp environment where the seeds will germinate properly. So after couple of days or after 24 hours, depending on how much humidity you have, more humidity you have, lesser your blackout period, you can remove the cloth. You can remove the cloth after a couple of days, and you can keep your containers in the window sills where the containers would get sunlight, daily sunlight of 2 to 3 hours, preferably in the morning or in the evening. And while your containers are placed in the window sills, you can water them every morning with the help of PET bottle. You can water them also in the evening if your environment is too dry. So daily watering, 2 to 3 hours of daily sunlight, and first blackout period 4 to 48 hours is the key to microgreens growing success. Now here I have microgreens growing in the similar containers. Here you can see I got the mustard microgreens which are just newly germinated. In fact, these were sown only 5 days before this, and you can see that they are already germinated and the greens have started to come out. I still got 7 to 8 more days, so generally it takes 10 to 12 days for the mustard to go into harvestable microgreens. Similarly, I have this 5-day-old red amaranth, and you can see how wonderfully it has grown. This is what you want as microgreens: very dense, very thick, and very healthy. Now even I would wait for this red amaranth to grow double the current size before it becomes harvestable. Okay, so for now, post germination, depending on your environment, you may want to wait for 7 to 14 days before you decide when you want to harvest it. You can partially harvest the microgreens Whenever you want to harvest, you can harvest a particular part and allow the other remaining part to grow. So this is the window farming that we can do. Would grow all kinds of microgreens in the smaller containers and harvest them whenever you want to harvest.
Well, I hope the video was clear and the audio was there.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. If anybody have any questions, please raise your hand and ask, or you can just type in chat box.
Well, there is one question: how much amount of microgreens should be consumed? Now, it's like there is no maximum amount. If you got microgreens in your window and if you are growing it nicely, you can consume it as much as you want. Like how much salad would you consume? How much
Salad,
coriander would you consume?
salad, I would consume the half the quantity of one plate.
Is that you can basically, rather than the volume of microgreens per eating.
Question came to my mind. Actually, I'm pursuing nutraceuticals now, MSc, and we
Mhm.
have to develop new food products. So I had a question because too much of vitamins can also lead to toxicity. So if microgreens consumed in high amount can also lead to stomach problem or irritation. So that's why I was asking about the maximum amount that is permissible.
Yeah, so probably nobody has done research as such as somebody is completely on microgreens diet, which is basically not recommended. It has to be just like it has to be part of your addition to the any other regular diet. As far as I understand, the vitamins, minerals that we talk about, yes, these are required in less quantity, but consuming them as a synthetic way and consuming it as a live plant, because basically if you see, when you want to harvest microgreens, you whenever you want to eat microgreens, that is the time you harvest it. You don't store it, you don't refrigerate it, or even in the room temperature you don't store it. The entire content of microgreens is almost more than 95% water, and since it's all water and there is less cellulose, because the reason why we don't eat regular leafy vegetables raw and we cook, whether it's spinach or methi or mat, which is the red or green amaranth, is because we can't digest cellulose. So we have to break it down and we cook it. While these are tender, the cellulose is not fully formed, it's not significant enough to affect our digestion. So I don't know if there is such research on microgreens where their consumption would lead to too much of vitamins.
Yes, and that would also differ with the different species of the crops that have been mentioned.
It does. In fact, it all began as a only garnishing. So in Californian restaurants in the 80s, microgreens you're not supposed to consume it. In fact, eating microgreens was considered bad manners, was considered bad table manners. It is in the 90s. If you see, the decade of 90s was the decade of awareness, where the lot of nutritionists, dietitians, health experts were taken seriously in the 90s.
Mm.
And the concepts like what you eat is what you are, your
Yes.
appearance and your psychological being has a lot to do with food. All these novel concepts actually got established in the era of 90s, and that's when even the microgreens were taken seriously as food.
Right.
There is no question. What about the rains? Is the time period to harvest the same? In the rainy season, microgreens germinate super fast. So within 24 hours, like something like amaranth will germinate really fast. And time period for harvesting is reduced in the rainy season. In fact, sometimes we have harvested the amaranths within 5 to 6 days also in the Mumbai monsoon season, obviously. But yes, humid climate, wet climate, seeds will germinate really fast. They will grow rapidly. You will have more bulk mass. As you saw the density of microgreens that in the video, you will get that bulk mass in the rainy season much better. Obviously, you don't want to keep your containers directly in the rain because the containers are so small, you have to manually water it. But the overall rainy climate helps. Is there no need to soak the seeds? Actually, soaking the seeds is a practice, it's a good habit. It's a practice which is done when you are sowing the seeds in the soil, like a soak. One is that you already you kickstart the process of germination and sprouting before it happens in the soil, and secondly, you surpass the fungal infection stage because seeds are really vulnerable when they are just sprouting, and that's when the fungus can sometimes overpower. But when you are sowing the seeds of microgreens in coco peat, if you see, I precisely use the medium of coco peat. If you skip the soil and if you use the compost and coco mixture, you can actually skip the soaking process. So if you are sowing the seeds in coco peat, you don't need to pre-soak them. If you are going to sow the seeds in the soil conventionally, it's a good idea to pre-soak them.
Thank you.
Is the harvesting by yeah.
So sorry, Harshad, please go ahead.
Yeah, you can ask.
So I just had to notify everyone in the team. We will be closing the breakout rooms and going back to our main groups with everyone in the conference. So we have 5 more minutes left. And if anybody has any more specific questions to ask to Harshad, you can please go ahead and reach out. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just answer the questions which are already there. Which is, so is harvesting done by uprooting or cutting? Harvesting should not be done by uprooting because uprooting will disturb the whole thing. And what happens is you will notice that roots form there is a lot of intermingling. There is a huge network of roots underneath. So it's better to take a nice sharp small pair of scissors and you cut it right near where they are coming out. Okay, so wherever there is surface where they have come out, you cut it. So you let the roots be there in the coco peat and you harvest. And remember one thing: once you harvest, microgreens are so small that they are unable to regrow. So every cycle of microgreens, you have to sow the seeds again. Okay, so harvesting is done by the scissors and it is done by cutting and not by uprooting. Is there any need of seed treatment before sowing the seeds? For microgreens, no seed treatment is required because you know what happens is when you are consuming microgreens, the original natural seed coat is sometimes already there on the seeds. The seeds that you buy from agro centers and garden centers are already pre-treated. In fact, it is recommended not to treat the seeds before sowing. All you need to do is get the seeds that are already viable. So we don't want the seeds that have already expired, or you don't want to get the seeds that are too tender right after their good dormancy period. No need for any treatment. Does the soaking the seeds fasten the process of germination? In the coco peat, no. The process of soaking the seeds directly happens in coco peat itself, but it doesn't fasten the process of germination, but the entire germination is synchronized. So all the seeds usually, when we have the habit of, when you have the pulses that we put for sprouting, the whole procedure of germination is synchronized. So in a way, it does fasten this process of germination. Okay. Does container matter? Mud versus plastic? Not necessarily. For microgreens, no. If you have a mud container, very nice. If you have plastic containers, make sure that you are reusing some old plastic container rather than throwing it away. before you recycle it, I would say recycle plastic only when it's completely broken and unusable. And if it's intact, you can use also plastic. Okay. Um, yes. After harvesting the leaves, do they grow again? No. After harvesting the leaves, they don't grow again. You have to sow the seeds again. You take a sieve. You can take a sieve and yes, just separate the cocoa peat. You can reuse the container. You can reuse the same cocoa peat again. And but because they're so tender, we are talking about 10-14 days, they don't have enough vigor or capacity to regenerate on their own. So you have to sow the seeds again. If older leafy vegetables, if you remember, if older spinach and older amaranth, they will regrow. You can cut and they will regrow after 30 or 40 days when you harvest. But otherwise, microgreens, no. You have to do the sowing again. You can use the cocoa peat and you can use the same container. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question. I was having a network issue. You said like after the sowing the seeds, we cover it. So do we cover it with soil or cocoa peat? I missed that part.
You cover it with the same medium which you have used for sowing. So if you're
Okay.
sown the seeds in soil, you cover it with soil. And if you're sown in cocoa peat, you cover it with cocoa peat. But I have said that you need to further cover it as a blackout period. The entire assembly, you need to further cover it by cloth or a newspaper for 24 to 48 hours, which will fasten the process of germination.
Okay. And the cloth we are going to use is not going to be the wet cloth, right? A normal dry cloth we are going to use for cover the.
The advantage of cloth is that you can even water the cloth from the top. You can make a wet. A wet cloth is more useful.
Okay.
It will increase the overall micro humidity of the container, because humid climate is more suitable for germination. So yeah, wet cloth will do.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much.
So I just wanted to ask, if I have to share my other details or the contacts, can I do that right now? Or-
Yeah, I think that
or-
would be extremely helpful for any of the people who are here in this chat and they would like to reach out to Harshit for any kind of assistance or any kind of knowledge regarding the subject. Harshit,
Yes.
please go ahead and drop your information. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and those who want the presentation, they can. I don't know if the team. What's the procedure? If I can share this with the team, and you can get there. You can see here the harvested microgreens right here. So you can see here with a pair of scissors, the microgreens have been harvested, and you have put into the raita, or we locally make the koshimbir raita, or even with the sprouts, you can use the microgreens as you can see here. And here are my contact details. So that's my number, the one which ends with 66388. That's our website, mynaturefirst.com. And you can like our page, Facebook page, Nature First. We post a lot of blog updates, we have our own workshops and sessions that you would like to attend. There we have products which you can buy from mynaturefirst.com. Organic gardening products are there, and any queries, your gardening related, any queries or questions you have, you can very much ask on the first number. That's my number, which is the 66, or the one which ends with 6633 and 338, and that's on WhatsApp. You can call also. If you have any queries, you can send it with the photograph, which I can answer it for you. Yes. Do we have some more time?
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think we can take one more question. We are all of the other rooms are just right now closing in and they are finishing up their conversation. So we can take one more question if anybody has that. If not, I did have a question and I'd love Harshit's opinion on that as well.
Yes.
So, Harshad, I thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was extensively detailed about doing that. I've been trying to grow microgreens through some of the commercial seeds that you get in the market, right? And I'm trying to do them in one of those small little plates that has a lot of these holes, and you can do that in itself. So, one of the struggles that I quite recently faced with that is once the germination actually happens, right, it tends to also in some parts of that very plate will not be similar to the quality that has been there on one end. So some of them will turn brown very quickly. Some of them might just not germinate at all. So I wanted to know, could this be an issue of the soil, or this is there is something that I'm not being able to provide to the seeds, or is it just something with the positioning of it?
Yeah, actually, what happens is if you sow the seeds in regular soil, garden soil, there is a thing called as damping off. So in the garden soil, seeds don't germinate uniformly. That's a fact. Some will go faster, some will take some time. And if you sow too many seeds with less sunlight, and if you do the excess watering, so this is the combination I'm talking about. Too many seeds, less sunlight, and too much of water will lead to some damped off patches where the seedlings will catch a minute fungal spots and they will drop off. So instead of having these upright microgreens, you will be having germination. Germination will be there, but it will not grow even any further because of the damping off situation. So damping off can be avoided by reducing the soil and increasing the coco peat. Once the seeds germinate, they should get couple of hours of good sunlight, and you need to give minimum necessary water. If you give too much water, that also leads to the problem that you are explaining.
You're right about the wilting part, because I do see that a lot of these seeds grow up in some parts which would be upright, and in the same plate, I always wondered why there is wilting. So thank you for that. I'll take into that account. I think we have one question
Right.
from Asha here, who's talking about the reuse of soil. You can please go ahead and read and answer that as well.
Roots of previous batch should not be mixed with the same soil. You can put them for composting. So if you have a composting, you can use that, or at the base of the container to cover the drain holes, you can use the roots of the previous soil, but you don't want to use them as a part of your next batch. And after harvesting the yield of microgreens subsequently, will the adding liquid compost help? Well, I would say any manure that you want to add should be part of your original potting mixture. Once the microgreens are growing, you don't want to add any manure to it. All the manure should be part of your original potting mixture. As you must have seen in the video, I use the part compost. That compost should be enough to take your microgreens all the way up to harvesting. So I don't think we should add any liquid manure to it. Basically, commercial microgreens grower don't do it organically. They use all soluble NPK, water soluble nutrients, and they do use coco peat, but the nutrients are added in the chemical form, or the water soluble chemical form. So when you get a microgreen, very nicely grown, uniformly grown microgreen in the mall, it looks attractive, but it's not grown organically. That's the problem.
I
Yes.
think I'd love to thank Harshit for this wonderful session that we've had on microgreens. I think everybody engaged extensively, and they really did get a lot of information about this. We would now be closing up this session. So thank you so much. And we're now going back to the main screen. So all breakout rooms will close in a minute, and you might be able to see that information on your screen. So if you want, you can leave the room, and let's go back to the main chat as well. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Harshad, once again for your expert comments and thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir.
Everyone.